Oh well, this trench is really come on today. It's really shifted. I mean, we've been shifting a lot of muck, and that's the main thing. Really, everything that we've taken out is just backfill that happened, that built up after the Victorians dug it, and everything else is windblown sand. So if you look at the section behind you, this section here, you can see that this is the level to which the Victorians dug. It probably might even be the floor of the chapel. We don't know yet. We'll have to go through it. But this material here, we've got lots of coal and clinker. We've got a piece of clay pipe out of it, bits of roofing tile and what have you. This here is probably 19th, early 20th century, something like that. The rest of it, all of that, is sand that has blown in. I doubt whether it's been deliberately put in here. Just sand that has just built up over the years, and you can see that towards the end, the upper part is very, very heavily rooted. So that means that all the fines that are in it get very, very churned around. The roots churn it around, worms churn it around. We've had rabbit activity in here and all that sort of stuff. Now, any fines in that are pretty much meaningless. The material out of there confirm that is 19th or 20th century. So we've had to shift by hand from about that level today. All of that has gone, but it has actually given us a really, really nice idea of what's going on. Behind you here we've got the wall of the chapel rising right the way up. Lost some of the facings in here and able to carry on up. And then in the front here we've got a nice little sort of bench or sill along the side of the wall. We've got a similar thing on that side as well. You can see really nice seat or sill here with a wall coming up here. In the east wall we've got what looks like the chancel wall, and you can see that you can follow that along. It's all this very, very big stone in here, all very, very nicely bedded in together. You can trace it coming down there. That one's nicely horizontal, that one's nicely horizontal, that's nicely horizontal. You get to about there, that one's horizontal, that one's horizontal, and then it dies out. So that, we think, is probably the edge of the chancel that you would have gone through then, the chancel arch you'd have gone through into the chancel. You can see here that this stone and these stones, you can see this one in particular, this stone here is disappearing into the wall. You can see that this one here is also overlying it. Those are actually all meshed in together. So that tells us that that wall and that wall are the same build. They're put up at the same time. Now, when you look at this piece of the wall, you can see that, look how these are tipping in. They're not mortared together. Look, I can push my trowel in there. Now that is not part of the original chapel wall. Why can we tell that? Well, if you remember, this material right at the bottom has got 19th and 20th century finds in it. And this is sitting on the top of this. So this wall must be later than the 19th or 20th century. So this is just very, very recent blocking. Funnily enough, it is still part of the chapel, and because the chapel is part of the scheduled monument, we cannot remove any of these stones without permission. Luckily enough, we've been able to get permission because we want to see whether or not the wall ever continued along, and whether or not this was actually part of the original early wall, and that part of the chapel was added on at a later date. So a lot of muck's been shifted today, a lot of sweat's been poured out, a lot of water has been taken on board. There'll probably be a little drop of water with molten hops added a bit later on tonight, but in the meantime we've had a cracking day. We've shifted a lot of muck, and it's all to play for tomorrow.